If HBO want to truly do a faithful adaptation of The Chamber of Secrets, they need to embrace the absolute madness of the source material. While the original movies gave us mostly a dark, atmospheric mystery, the second book is actually packed with bizarre wizarding biology, unhinged school lessons, and hilarious background lore that the films completely erased. From hormonal plants to traumatizing teddy bears, here are 10 ridiculous book details HBO absolutely must include in Season 2. Starting with Valentine's Day, Lockhart decorates the Great Hall in sickening pink and hires some surly dwarves dressed as Cupid-winged angels to march around the school delivering singing valentines. But the most ridiculous moment, a dwarf corners Harry in a crowded hallway, tackles him to the floor, sits directly on Harry's legs, and forces him to listen to Ginny's anonymous poem, including the line, "His eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad," all while Malfoy and a crowd of students look on and mock him. Next up is a massive piece of world building. The mandrakes being grown to cure the petrified students aren't just a one-scene wonder. The book tracks their entire adolescence across the school year, like a background running joke. They go through distinctly human life stages, moody and secretive as teenagers, then developing acne, and finally, the sign that they're fully mature and ready to be harvested. Several of the mandrakes throw a loud and raucous party in Greenhouse 3. This is the exact kind of background chaos the HBO series needs. After tracking Mud into the castle, Harry is taken to Filch's office where he discovers an envelope for a mail-order correspondence course called Quickspell. This is how we learn that Filch is actually a squib. When Filch catches Harry looking at the letter, he suffers a breakdown of absolute shame and panic. Instead of giving Harry a punishment for tracking Mud into the castle, Filch becomes so desperate to hide his secret that he frantically shoves the paperwork away and lets Harry go completely free. The films give us a quick tour of the Weasley house, but they skip the living, breathing, and occasionally hostile environment of the Burrow. The Burrow is filled with magical oddities the movies completely ignore. A hideous ghoul lives in the attic right above Ron's room, howling and dropping pipes whenever the house gets too quiet. But the most ridiculous object? The house features a sentient mirror over the kitchen mantelpiece that shouts critical commentary at anyone who looks into it, giving Harry a shock when it yells, "Tuck your shirt in, Scruffy," at him. Lockhart's very first defense against the dark arts lesson starts with zero actual magic. Instead, he hands out a 3-page, 54-question test entirely dedicated to himself. The test features incredibly unhinged questions like, what is Gilderoy Lockhart's favourite colour? And what would be his ideal birthday gift? Hermione is the only student to get a perfect score, earning her 10 house points. The movies completely ignore Percy's initial character development, but in the book, he is acting incredibly suspicious. Percy spends most of the book skulking and sneaking around, writing lots of letters and behaving weirdly. Everyone assumes he's up to something sinister, but the truth is that he's been secretly dating Ravenclaw prefect Penelope Clearwater and is absolutely mortified at the thought of his family finding out. When Ginny almost lets it slip that she caught them kissing, Percy goes into a complete panic. Gnomes in the wizarding world aren't cute. They are leathery, potato-headed pests that bite ankles. To clear them out, the Weasleys have to physically grab them by the ankles, swing them in giant circles to dizzy them, and launch them over the hedge so they can't find their way back. The Weasley boys turn a mundane household chore into a competitive sport, actively trying to break distance records. When Harry tries to be gentle with one, the gnome viciously chomps down on his finger, forcing Harry to aggressively whip it away. Ridiculous scenes like this will help build out the wizarding world and make great TV. We all love the flying forward Anglia, but the book reveals the journey to King's Cross was a complete disaster. Mr. Weasley has magically extended the car's interior so the entire family, their trunks, 2 owls and rat, can all fit inside. The Weasleys are so disorganised that they have to keep turning the car around because Fred and George forgot their broomsticks, and Ginny forgot her diary. By the time they finally pull up to the station, the clock is ticking, everyone's tempers are completely frayed, and the family is in a total state of panic. On Halloween night, instead of attending the glorious feast, Harry, Ron and Hermione attend Nearly Headless Nick's 500th Death Day party inside a freezing, damp dungeon. The ghosts dance to the horrific screeching of musical saws, and the buffet table is piled high with rotting, maggot-infested food, because ghosts can only get a faint taste of something if it's completely decomposing. Scenes like this need to be included in the new HBO series, as it really builds on the ghost characters, which are badly overlooked in the movies. Finally, the source of Ron's extreme fear of spiders is exposed. Ron tells Harry that when he was 3 years old, Fred turned his teddy bear into a dirty great spider. Ron has been traumatized ever since, which makes the trip into the Forbidden Forest to follow the spiders later in the book all the more agonizing for him. Which of these ridiculous book scenes are you most hoping to see in HBO's Season 2? Are there any other unhinged details I missed that you think are essential? Let me know below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, like and subscribe so you don't miss the ridiculous moments from The Prisoner of Azkaban next.